This video is about what it means to be of the one true God. It means the natural inclination to restore the divine order that you follow through with. It's like a bird is meant to fly. The fish out of water effect. You can't truly be comfortable in life. You can't truly survive unless you try to restore the divine order. This is your true calling. Okay. So, Ra is the true idea of God. And the true form of Horus is Horus, son of Ra. The Bible has different translations. Okay, there's Ra says, there's G says, there's Yah says, then there's say, sage. Okay, as you do the wordplay, right? Jesus backwards, right? Say, sage, right? And says, age, right? This is, all these other ones are bullshit, right? G is the earth mother, okay? Or Gaia, G-A-I-A. Yah is the moon in rebellion against the sun. And the sage, right, is the wise, learned person that uses psychology and secret society networks to kind of force his way on people, right? He's not really wise, right? It's the idea of their version of wisdom. Goes back to EA, Enki, knowledge, wisdom, right? The female brain, the liar, the snake, right? The snake is a symbol of being wise versus Horus is the symbol of intense masculine insight, okay, to truly understand and to restore the divine order naturally. So all these other ideas are females trying to superimpose themselves on the divine order, or a gay guy, right? G says, Gaia, G-A-I-A, Ki, right? The Sumerian earth goddess. So basically, people are under sort of operant conditioning, what annoys and pleases. And they give you different foods like sugar plantations, right? It was to help them create this kind of void of the true spirit, right? The true spirit of God is serious, okay? So if you get all sugary and goofy and cartoon-like, you're more gay-like, you're more effeminate, you're less serious, okay? So when people choose who to lead, right? Lead is deal scrambled, right? Game is mage scrambled, right? Trap, backwards is part. Evil, backwards is live, and so on, okay? So when they see themselves in a demon leader and obey them, right? They're evil. They're naturally evil. The natural inclination to obey me and give me my rightful place is good. Because as you see this evil world especially, you're saying we need a true leader. Who should I listen to? Airy, ear-eye. Who should I listen to? Who should I follow? Okay. So it is, Horus is the true form of Airy when he's Horus, son of Ra. And the Chukwu in his true form is Ra, not the explanation of the witches who are Igbos or the witches who are Ethiopians or the witches who are, you know, Westerners and so on and so forth. Okay. It's just like when you buy a new car, right? You pop the hood, you take it for a test drive. When you follow someone, why wouldn't you carefully analyze them and say, and decide whether or not to follow them? So this is what's happening, whether people want to admit it or not. Okay, they're more susceptible to the sugars and all the operant conditioning and the quote-unquote mind control, if you will. It's really just psychology and chemistry and so on, okay? Because they don't have enough natural, moral warrior genes in their body. And this has to do with colonialism, right? Who colonized who and why? When Rome colonized the world, the West with armor, and then in turn, you know, they reached England, and in turn England and France and Spain, they went around the world colonizing, okay? They spread the non-moral warrior. These are Greco-Roman orgy, all roads lead to Rome, immoral type of soldiers, and not the moral warrior, which goes back to the form of Set, the principle of evil, confusion, storms, chaos, okay? He's a boar. A boar is a fortified kind of animal, like a hippo, okay? So these guys went around and had their way with women, and you know them by their works. And the bell that rings the loudest is whether or not they're inclined to restore the divine order. So being big by itself, you know, my dad's big, my uncle's big, isn't necessarily a sign of being from Set's breeding, okay? It is not having the inclination to obey in these last days. We know everyone else is upset when they don't find their way to me and obey. Moving on, because, you know, it's the fish out of water effect, right? Who are they listening to? Who are they following? When you see them, you know, being police officers or in the military, they're following these worldly orders. Why would they do that? Right? Because that resonates with them. They saw the opportunity. They said, I want to do that because that kind of lifestyle naturally appealed to them or unnaturally. Either way, they didn't have enough warrior genes to overcome it. Also, this also means that they're unworthy to continue the Horus order. Intense is play on words for in, on, see. On is Heliopolis, Ionu, Ra's call center. Focus, phi, cause. If you're really focused, right, you're going to choose the true cause. You know, or faux sick. You're going to see that these other guys are sick, right? You're focused when you buy a car. Why wouldn't you be focused when you choose a culture, a lifestyle, a leader? Moral, right? More L. Okay. Ra L versus magic card. Okay. M for magic. Ray L I L L. Mentally L. Okay. So the armor of God. Why didn't your parents put it on? For those of you who put on a thong and said, hey, you know what? He's wrong about that. He doesn't know what he's talking about and act like bitches. Okay. Why didn't your parents put on the armor of God regardless what religion they were? The armor is simply the helm of salvation. This is the true idea of how to be saved, right? Salvation, okay? Lay, vi, shun. Who do they sleep with? It's a parent, and pair, in, right? And T, the feminine ending. Why didn't they put on the helm of salvation? Why didn't they put on their thinking cap metaphorically? Why didn't they have the sword of the Spirit when they picked when the sword, why weren't they in the true spirit of Horus? This goes back to breeding. This goes back to decision making. Why didn't they have the belt of truth? It's like, where are you going? If you don't have the proper belt, your pants are, you're pulling up your pants all the time, you're slipping and shit. Why? Because you didn't live by the truth. Why didn't they have the breastplate of righteousness? Why weren't they truly, purely intense righteousness? Why aren't they focused, moral intensity, and intense righteous indignation? Why didn't they have the shield of faith? Why didn't they protect themselves from all this evil in the world? Why didn't they have faith in the truth, in the true life, in the true Son of God? Goes back to the question that Set was asked by Isis when she took on the form of a ravishing maiden. Should cattle be given to strangers when a man has a son as an heir? Should the people of the world be given to those who aren't from the divine martial art bloodline when God has chosen this guy? Okay, Set was basically fighting with Horus over who's going to ascend, ascend, right? Transcend, ascend versus transcend, right? Over who's going to be Pharaoh. Okay, he wants people in a trance so they can be like, "Oh, you're so great, Set," and follow him, right? And who's vulnerable to the trance? Those who don't have a strong moral point of reference. You know something's wrong when you're under psychology. And you know not to do it if you have a strong moral point of reference. Versus, maybe I should do this. You're like, wait a second, what am I doing? I know not to do that. Okay. So should cattle be given to strangers when a man has a son as an heir? Should the cattle of Ra, which is what the people of children of God were called, you know, because in Heliopolis, okay, because remember this was said in a later Khan story, but the idea is sound. Why should the Pharaoh's son not inherit this? And if you kill him, why should other bloodlines inherit, even altogether, inherit God's, this connection to God? Okay, they shouldn't. Because if they were from non-snake bloodlines, they would have naturally found their way to him, and they would have died with him. They would have stood with him. They would have obeyed. So why should these people who don't know God, not a single one of them obeyed, be given a connection to God? Should cattle be given to strangers when a man has a son as an heir? Okay. So there's moral discipline versus being bitter and evil. We see the military and so on and so forth. You see kind of the left-right paradigm. Right? The left people tend to be unfocused. Right? You have kind of poor white people on the right, but you have these masses of left-wing lunatics pushing the party line. Gender-neutral people, bearded ladies, just like a circus show, right? If there's a bearded lady in the circus and you can't for the life of me tell me why I should take you more seriously than her, then it's a circus act. You know, the left-wing martial arts, right? Circus act. The right is basically UFC knucklehead. Let's conserve white supremacy even if we have to take on a new form of martial arts, because whites have no traditional martial arts. They take on American versions of left-wing martial arts, right? Asian arts, okay, which are basically come from Africa, okay, and they take on this new form. So, you know, when you have the bearded ladies, you have the people doing demonstration, right? Acrobats, gymnasts, ballerinas. Why should I, you know, there's balancing acts, there's people juggling acts, there's tightrope walkers, right? Trapeze acts. Why should I take you in more seriously than this guy doing flips in the trapeze and da, right? That means nothing. This is not martial arts. This is circus, right? Focus versus circus. Okay, and on the right, so there's a bunch of weirdos on the left, woohoo, woohoo, taking drugs and hippies and shit. On the right, there's a bunch of discipline by evil. They don't have moral discipline. It's fake morality. It's hypocrisy-based discipline. It's evil. And they're enforcing the evil of the state. The law, the wall, the will, the God of the land, the God of this world, the law of the land, the law of this world. Okay, so they're being forged in these military families, these police families. Do what the devil wants you to do, right? They're evil. Everyone's in the reproductive cycle of evil. So when we look at this thing, why does this happen? Again, if you still have a thong on and don't want to admit that you're evil for not obeying God through me and not being able to tell that I'm the top martial artist, without seeing without my $4,000 4-year challenge for 1 point was $100,000, without my 15 hits in 1.2 to 1.45 seconds from Deontay Wilder's sparring range, without my my shirt off and you see the difference between my figure and theirs, bone structure, figure it out, right? Okay, the sword of the spirit that forges, for moral forging, moral forged, okay, more for God forged, okay, then certainly you can understand this one. True attraction and true respect are connected with single heterosexuals. If you're attracted to that person, isn't there a point of mental conditioning, right? Association. If you truly understand morality and righteousness and the true handsome hero, the true handsome prince, the true angelic-like human being, right? More than just the image. You understand this is an image-based culture where people are con men and they put on acts and they pretend to be things that they're not. Okay. Wouldn't you start getting good at seeing through it? Because people aren't that great actors, right? And most people, they're not very good at acting. Okay. And if you see the difference, wouldn't you start to explore that? So true attraction and true respect, are connected with single heterosexuals. There's the good-looking person, right? He's good. He's good at what? Right? Martial arts. Martial arts are lifestyles. If he's good and he's not good at martial arts, how could you compare him to someone that is? And what martial arts are we talking about? Demonstration, demonstrate, I-N? Or are we talking about application, to apply? Okay, uplay versus uplie. You're pretending to be the person pointing the way to the heavens. Okay. The pirate blood, right? Set is always waiting to steal the show. We see these quote-unquote empowered women with their nice cars putting their head up at me. That's what they do these days. That's part of how they try to provoke me. They put their head up. I'm above you. Acting like little kids. You may as well have a little diaper on, a little pink diaper on, and a pink thong in one hand and a fucking lunch pail in the other. Okay? Just absolutely whores, fucking channeling whores. Venus, Ishtar, Aphrodite. If you don't think these deities are whores, you're fucking insane. I'm going to team up with Cupid. This is the little baby shooting people with arrows in the butt to make them fall in love. Injecting drugs. And it's childish to use drugs to win your mate. It's childish to be a whore. And like, look at my tits and don't obey Pharaoh. It's childish. Okay? These are pirates. The pirate dressed slut trying to steal the show. Because to them, it's just a game. It's a show. It's a play. Play. They emerge on some bitch shit. Okay? That is significant and important. Why didn't your parents put on the armor of God? Why didn't you? Consider my explanation. Should cattle be given to strangers when a man has a son as an heir? When God has chosen this bloodline and RNA, right, gene expression, patriarchal line, the son of man, the son of God, should the leadership of humanity be given to the snakes that have come together every generation, more and more scientifically, more and more effective, using the principles of evil, which is set, the principles of evil, right, versus the principles of good, cunning, confusion, storm, okay, chaos, evil. The principles of evil, the 7 sins, to win people over, 7 sins, 7 seals, seal and deal, 7 sages, Sumer, 7 sages, Babylon, 7 sages, the Hindu system, 7 sages, Greece and Rome. Should these people be given a connection to God to lead other people with when they did not stand with God's Son? Here is my son, love him and listen to him. Versus, let's just snake him so we can look good. And then our kids, my son, Mason, they're worshiping the devil, Lucifer, okay, the illusion. My son. Bitches like this, I'm a pirate's fucking little whore. I'm a pirate's little whore everywhere I go. This is what the top martial artist sees with his horse vision on top of that. Cursed, corset, no they can't.